Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I may have to move from Alaska. Let me tell you why. Now, thank you very much, Genesis Gold Group, for sponsoring this video. A Missouri bill is taking steps to turn gold and silver into legal tender. Now, I'm just kidding, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not moving from Alaska, but I'll tell you what, this is pretty awesome that states are starting to follow suit, because Missouri is not the first one to do this. And I believe that after Missouri, and I believe it's the other 3 states that have already passed this bill, that even more states will follow. And I'm going to show you why here towards the end, exactly why it is that I'm not moving from Alaska. Why? Because I have hope that there are enough good people in this state that this will also happen here. A bill introduced in the Missouri state for the 2023 legislative session would take important steps toward treating gold and silver as money instead of as commodities, and would set the stage for currency competition. Now, imagine that, treating gold and silver as money. J.P. Morgan is the one that said in front of Congress, I forgot what year, I'll try to look it up. He said that gold is money and everything else is credit, or everything else is debt, one or the other. So even J.P. Morgan said that in front of Congress. And look at how long Congress has gotten away with using fiat currency and not using what the Constitution says is legal tender and real money in the United States of America, which are gold and silver. I think it's Article 1, but don't quote me on that. The legislation will take several steps to encourage the use of gold and silver as money in Missouri, including making it legal tender, eliminating the state capital gains tax on gold and silver, and establishing a state bullion depository. Now, ladies and gentlemen, do you all know, I believe I saw this on Hersey Financial, Mr. Joe Brown's channel, where he discovered a document that was dated all the way back to 1918, where it pretty much stated these are the steps that we're going to take to try to discourage the American people from holding gold and silver so that we can hoard it all. Why? Because they knew that gold and silver was real money back then, and guess what? They still know it today, evident by all the central banks in the last several years that have been buying gold at the fastest rate since I think 1960 or so. So do you think they know something that maybe you don't know? What I would say is start stacking, because slow and steady wins the race. Ladies and gentlemen, I've received several emails in the past asking me what I would do if I had a 401k or an IRA that I wanted to protect against the inflationary forces that we've experienced and are experiencing now. I'm not a financial advisor, but the folks at Genesis Gold Group specialize in helping those who want to diversify their excess wealth by converting their fiat currency retirement plans into a plan that is backed by real money. So if you're in a position where you are wondering what you can do in order to diversify or insulate your wealth against what I like to call the inferno of inflation, give Genesis Gold Group a call, and they can provide you with the information that you need in order to make an educated decision. Once again, thank you very much, Genesis Gold Group, for sponsoring this video. Under the proposed law, gold and silver would be accepted as legal tender and would be receivable in payment of all public and private debts contracted for in the state of Missouri. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as long as there is a dollar, I personally believe that people will pay their debts in dollars and hoard their gold and silver. Why is that? It's a law. It's called Gresham's Law, which means that bad money goes first and people hold on to the good money. Why do you think the Federal Reserve, i.e. the government, doesn't want any competition? Because they know that the fiat currency, what they call money, that they issue to us and make us use, is worthless. It cannot stand up against gold or silver. And in the last 5,000, 6,000 years, gold and silver has always been used as money. And in many countries around the world, the word money is plata, P-L-A-T-A, which is also another word for silver. So ladies and gentlemen, The Federal Reserve, the government, they know what's happening to the dollar, and all of these states know also. So they are now taking steps to protect themselves. The question is, are you protecting yourself? Right? If you can't afford to buy gold and silver, I think you're just telling yourself that. I'm not a financial advisor, but if you cannot afford to go out there and stack gold and silver and buy it by the bar, or by the ounce even, you can always afford to skip 1 or 2 Starbucks a week or a month and get yourself a couple of silver dimes. 90% silver dimes that were minted on or before 1964. They still hold the same value today that they did 50 years ago. They continue to say that this would allow Missourians to use gold and silver coins as money rather than just as a mere investment vehicle. In effect, it would put gold and silver on the same footing as the Federal Reserve note. And the feds hate that. They do not want to have to compete against gold or silver. Utah led the way, reestablishing constitutional money all the way back in 2011, and Wyoming and Oklahoma have since joined. SB 100, which is the name of the bill, would also exempt the sale of gold and silver bullion from the state's capital gains tax, meaning that if you purchase, let's say, an ounce of gold for, let's say, $2,000, and 2 or 3 years later, you convert that ounce of gold into fiat currency and it is now valued at $3,000. It means that you would not have to pay capital gains tax on that difference. I hope that makes sense. I probably messed that all up, but I think you know what I mean. By eliminating this tax on the exchange of gold and silver, Virginia would treat specie as money instead as a commodity. This represents a small step toward reestablishing gold and silver as legal tender and breaking down the Fed's monopoly on money. And again, that's what they don't want. And for those of you that are wondering what is species is just another word for like gold and silver. We ought to not tax money, and that's a good idea. It makes no sense to tax money, said former U.S. Representative Mr. Ron Paul. He said this during a testimony in support of the Arizona bill that repealed capital gains taxes on gold and silver in that state. Paper is not money, it is fraud. And that is a statement that you can take to the bank, ladies and gentlemen. And let me tell you real quick why it is that I'm probably going to end up staying in Alaska. I know, AP, why did you use clickbait? Why are you always using clickbait? You know what? Towards the end of this video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about clickbait, okay? Because I got an email about this from a very nice gentleman, but stay tuned till the end because I'm going to actually tell you something that I think will make sense to you because it makes sense to me. God bless America. Alaska bill would set the stage to treat gold and silver as money. And this was published on the 10th of January, 2023. Juneau, Alaska. A bill introduced in the Alaska House would exempt gold and silver bullion from local sales tax and make both of them legal tender in the state. Now, there's no sales tax in Alaska as a state, but there are small cities here and there that have their own local sales tax. So what this is saying is that it will not be taxed whatsoever. All right, because some of you may ask or may say, well, there's no state tax in Alaska. No, there's not. But there are cities here and there that do have a tax in their city. For example, the North Pole, they have a tax in their city. All right. Passage of this bill would not only relieve some of the tax burdens on investors, but it would also eliminate barriers to using gold and silver in everyday transactions. That's all I'm going to read of this. I'm just so happy that they are at least considering this in Alaska, and hopefully if it stays in the House long enough, it will eventually be voted in. Ladies and gentlemen, states are starting to wake up. And when I say states, I mean states' governments. They're starting to wake up to the fact that the dollar is nothing but trash, that it is a piece of paper that is only worth about 17 cents in paper and ink. And then you're supposed to work your life away for that paper that gets devalued year after year after year. Whereas gold and silver, it's been proven that it holds its purchasing power over time. So if you save in gold and silver, and this is all my opinion again, I'm not a financial advisor, I have to say this because I'm on the internet, but if you save in gold and silver over time, you will be able to retire with some dignity instead of having to go to the government with your hand out for that piece of bread that they stole from you a long time ago. And I wonder why it is that more states are starting to wake up for this. Well, not only because of the inflation that's been going on in the last several years, but I'm sure that they understand why it is that other nations, especially Western nations, are hoarding gold. And here Putin says the US dollar is done. It will lose its dominance. Now, ladies and gentlemen, if you can't agree with that, then you haven't studied history and you really don't know much about money. What he is saying is true. And I don't care who this person is. I don't care what he's done over there with the big U. The truth is the truth, no matter who says it. Whether it comes from Ron Paul's mouth or whether it comes from President Putin's mouth. The dollar's dominance is nearing an end. And how are you going to protect yourself? That is the question. Now, let me talk to you really quick about clickbait. So I received a very nice email, and I'm not being sarcastic when I say this. I received a very nice email from a gentleman, and I'm going to go ahead and paraphrase it. And he said, "AAP, I thought that I would talk to you about this or ask you about this because I'm considering unsubscribing." And he said, "I really like the videos that you do when you go to the food bank and do donations, and you show things that you're doing outside of your house and things like that." He says, "But I've noticed lately that a lot of your videos are clickbaity, that they are clickbait like this. Like, take a look at this. This is it. Prepare. This is the groundwork for the world going to war with the USA. The next one here that I did, the USA will split up and Europe will not survive. America's little secret. There is something in the water. During the Great Depression, hospitals were for the wealthy." That's not that clickbaity. But here, millionaires warn, or billionaires warn, countries are quitting the dollar. Warning, credit card companies to begin tracking your gun and ammo purchases. Told you this was coming. Environment police want to take away your cars. Prepare now, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready for more price increases. Now, I believe personally, and some of you may disagree with me, and that's okay. That's okay. And by the way, I replied to this gentleman with a very nice email back, and I'll paraphrase what I said on that email after I talked to you about this. Ladies and gentlemen, these thumbnails may seem clickbaity. Did that scare you right there? Did that picture kind of scare you or startle you a little bit? That's what thumbnails are meant to do. Thumbnails are meant to wake those people up that are looking through YouTube to watch cat videos. I have nothing against cat videos. I have a couple of kitty cats myself, right? And I like my kitty cats. I like my pups. I watch one of those videos every once in a while because some of them are funny. I have nothing against them. But ladies and gentlemen, that's what thumbnails are meant to do, is to wake people up. And in all honesty, if you look at the description on my video or the title of my videos and what's on the thumbnail, and then you listen to what I'm talking about on that video, it has a lot to do with what I titled my videos. So let's just take, for example, and this is for those of you that are new here, that way you don't think that I'm trying to draw you in just to get that click. But I am trying to draw in those people that are not yet awake. Those of you that have been here for a while, you all know that pretty much what I talk to you about is how I personally feel. I'm not going to try to convince you of something, to do something, or to get something, or to think one way or another if I don't believe in it as well. So like, for example, this is it. Prepare. And I mean that. You should be preparing right now as much as you possibly can, because the inevitable will occur. This is the groundwork for the world going to war with the USA. And if you watch that video, is there anything in there that you really disagree with? That is the groundwork. What I talked about there, what someone shared with me from our community, what I talked about in that video, is it not the groundwork for why the world wants to go to war with the United States, why the world wants to decouple with the United States? I'm not trying to explain myself here as to why I do what I do, but I want to let you know that I'm not trying to draw you in with falsehood. Everything here that I say, I believe, ladies and gentlemen, and that's why I do this. And thumbnails, yes, they may seem a little bit clickbaity, but how are the masses going to wake up? How are those people that have no idea what's going on in the world, how are they going to wake up to know that, yes, your wealth is being stolen from you, and this is how it's being stolen from you? If I just put on there in small caps, your wealth is being stolen from you, and this is how it's being stolen from you, in just a black screen, how many people do you think would click on that? Probably not many. But if I put prepare, billionaires are telling you themselves, billionaire hedge fund managers are telling you themselves, get out of the dollar and get into precious metals because they hold their value. If I do that, where is it? Billionaire warns, hold gold. Gold will keep you fed when the dollars won't. Everything that I just said on that thumbnail, it may seem clickbaity, but it is 100% true. I'm trying to wake people up, because the more of us that are awake, especially good people, the more good people that are awake, the more people that will be prepared, like I said, for the inevitable. So I'm not trying to get one over on you, right? I know this video is probably a little bit clickbaity, huh? You were all probably wondering, oh my God, what happened? AP is moving out of Alaska? What in the world is going on? Ladies and gentlemen, I just want you to know that I'm not trying to fool anyone. Everything that I say in my videos, I believe. Unless it's a video that I'm doing of something that I don't agree with, but I will tell you what it is that I believe. All right? I will not try to fool you in any way to try to get anything out of you. All right? What you see is what you get. This ugly mug right here, in my opinion, has been the same since the day I started this channel till today. Yes, I have a nicer camera. Yes, I can now afford to do a few more giveaways than I did in the early days, but that's a good thing because we are using the system against them in a good way. So I hope that you understand. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, and that's pretty much what I told the gentleman on the reply email that I sent him. I said, listen, sometimes it takes a thumbnail to wake someone up, so that they can click on the video and then they can get the real news, the real facts of what's going on in our world instead of living in a normalcy biased world, which is what our rulers want the most. It's for us not to ask questions. It's for us to stay asleep. So I try to wake some people up. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I did have a review video that I was going to do today, but the darn company hasn't gotten back to me with a discount code, so I'm going to have to hold off on it. However, we are still doing giveaways this afternoon on today's live stream at 2 p.m. Alaska time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. So be there, ladies and gentlemen. You'll have a chance to win something nice. Other than that, have a great rest of your day. Hope to see you in a few hours during our live stream. We're going to have a great time. TGIF indeed. God bless every one of you. God bless America. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.